Well, Broncos country, this is exactly what happens when your wife goes out of town and leaves you alone for a week. On a Saturday night, if you're a Broncos nerd, you live stream. That's why we're here. But more importantly, we are here to name the 5 prospects that we would grade as an A grade in the draft if they took them at 20. That's the question I posed this morning. And I thought the results were interesting enough, at least to me, to bring them on the show and kind of talk about it. So you see the original tweet here. This was this morning at 8:30. I don't know why I was up or tweeting, but here I was. It's a simple question. What would you give the Broncos an A for? Which prospect would have you graded an A? And we know it's early to grade, right? We don't really grade. It's hard to grade for a few years, but you can always grade the pick, and then you can grade the result later. So when people push back about you should never grade a draft pick, I mean, you grade the process, right? You grade the prospect, coming out. And anyways, the results were interesting. We got obviously a lot of people. You can see there were 62,000 views, and this was as of I don't know, a few hours ago when I took this snap. But a lot of retweets, a lot of comments. I was really happy to see all those. And let's get into a little bit of the reactions. So what I did, just so you know, I bookmarked some of these. I bookmarked like the podcasts, the websites, or whoever that took part. And thanks to all these guys for doing that. First up, or one of the first up, was predominantly orange. And I think you're going to see a pattern here with Hampton Warren for sure. And there's going to be some Grant, but Trayvon Henderson and Amika both on their top 5. And honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with any of these. I know that Kenneth Grant's been dealing with some injury issues, and so maybe his, he might slide down. That might be something for the Broncos there. Let me know in the comments what you think about Kenneth Grant. David Talks Sports, guys. If you don't know who David Talks Sports is, go check this guy out at David Talks Buffs. He does both. He puts out a ton of content. He's fantastic. Good friend of the show. He was just on Mic'd Up, I don't know, last week, maybe. Omarion Hampton, Henderson, Junkins is on here. I didn't see him as much as I would have expected. Honestly, this is some late hype coming in for him, and I think some of it might be the fear that Hampton could go before the Broncos pick at 20. When maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, Hampton was definitely going to be there. And now it's looking like he might not. And of course, here comes Loveland and Harmon. I don't think I saw a lot of Harmon in these. Be interested to know what your thoughts on Harmon are. Carter Dillon from LTB. So he's got Tet, McMillan, Genty, Warren, Hampton, and Grant. That's a good, strong list there. Like I would grade any of those in A. Obviously, Genty and Warren, we all would, right? What are the chances that's going to happen? Probably not really good, but that wasn't the exercise, right? It's what you would give, what you would give an A for. And so Frankie Abbott, he does Frankie's Films. He's on Full Field Read with Robbie on Let's Talk Broncos. He came in with Malachi Starks, which I thought was fantastic. I don't think anyone else did. And then our first Stewart signing here, which I think you'll see more of in the future here. Andy chimes in. Pretty sure David was the only guy who said Junkins on this poll that you put out. I think you're right. Which is that surprising? Is it just me? Like I've seen a little bit of hype for him lately, and I leave that to the experts. You guys know me. I do Mic'd Up. I talk to the experts. I get them to talk. I just found the results interesting. I leave it to guys like Andy and Frankie and all these guys to, tell me what it really means. But Sarah from Locked On Broncos, Henderson, Hampton, Grant, Matthew Golden. That's nice. I think we'll see more of that. And of course, Barron is on here too. And he says, and there's more. And it is tough. Like I've seen that there's only 15. Some people say there's only like 15, prospects with a first round grade in this draft. But then it's just really, it gets really thick in the second and third. Like there's just a ton of talent there. But if they go in the first, they go in the first. I think it's interesting that, Sarah says, and there's more. So he would grade more than 5 as an A at 20. And I'm interested to see if you guys would too. And then, of course, Nick Kindle from MHH, one of the first ones to chime in. I don't think the guy ever sleeps, but he literally has 3 players that he would accept as an A. Tet McMillan, Janty, and Warren. Those are the 3. I think what he's saying, I think what Nick Kendall is saying is that the Broncos should move back, right? And I see that a lot. And I wouldn't have a problem with it. However, I think I'm at the point where if Hampton is there, I think I'd be upset if they traded out of that and then lost the opportunity to get him. But that's just me. Mario Vitanzi, he's going to name more than 5 because that's what he does. He can't follow simple instructions. Mario can't. But he's got Hampton, another Malachi Starks. That's good. Campbell, of course, Warren and Janty. And I would look at more, but then I'd probably lose my space and I would know it. But, follow directions next time. Give me 5, Mario. Jacob Romano. Yep. Another Stewart, but following right along. Andy's coming back in. He says, I'm higher on this first round class than a lot seem to be. You have to be, Andy, because a lot of people don't seem to be very high on it. But I kind of am. And of course, we never know. There's going to be players taken all over this draft that are going to be good. But Broncos, George Payton plays this right. He could have a lot of picks, right? Could really clean up in that second and third. Like, it'd be nice to get a bunch of third round picks and stuff. Boggins, yeah, he's right in line with everybody. Solid picks. Excuse me. So Fanatic Dak, he said he struggled to pick 5, but then he comes out with this like badass graphic. So thanks for that. But he's got Hampton, Barron, first Luther Bird sighting, and whatever this is, I don't know what he's using here. Draft professor. Got some A pluses if he took in round 1. Nice. I don't know what that means. Ooh, Walker. Okay. Yeah, nice work. Zach Seegers, Let's Talk Broncos. Janty, Loveland, Warren. He says it's unrealistic, and maybe it is, right? I think we can all agree that Janty and Warren are unrealistic. We don't really know about Loveland. This is the problem with that pre-draft hype stuff. You never really know. And then if Loveland, quote unquote, falls to the Broncos at 20, then people would be talking about how he fell. But we don't really know if somebody's falling or rising because you'd have to know what the teams are thinking. We only know what the pundits are thinking. But he says Hampton, T-Mac, that's Ted McMillan, obviously, and Grant. Would be 3 that he would be down with, and he's someone that I definitely listen to. Andy at CU Andy, by the way, with 2 Y's. Follow this person. It's fantastic, as most of you are getting to know. The dream is Ashton Genty and Tyler Warren, and then possibly tier 2. I'm not sure what he means by possibly. Like he would possibly give it an A, or it's possible that we could actually get them. He's got Hampton, Golden, Loveland, Abuka, and Campbell. So, and a few more, I guess. But like I said, if I click on it, I'll just screw everything up. But yeah, I think we're seeing a pattern here. Mark at Marquee Sports, right in line with everybody here. He's high on Golden. I see that. And I think we talked about that the other night. So these are all solid for me. I don't know a whole lot about Derek Harmon. I'd leave it up to you guys to tell me, how good that player is. But Patrick Chiotti, believe in the Broncos and altitude adjustment. It's got Janty, Warren, Tet, Starks, and Hampton. Um, yeah. Again, these are all solid to me. Jay Weaver chimes in of Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue. And Jay says Ted, Janty, Warren, Stewart again, and Campbell. See that Campbell name a few times. All different positions, but you can make an argument for why each position would be valuable, specifically in the first, fifth-year option. Yeah, that's true, Jay. I agree with that. I kind of like that about the the running back position. And even though I know that the running back position is generally not a first round, people tend to push back on first round running backs. But if you get a good one, you've got that fifth-year option. You got 5 years of running back, and I know it sounds cold, but then, if he's getting up to 28, 29 years old, you got a chance to move out of that pick. Andy said he meant the possibility as we could get them, but that put me a little over the full character limit, so I just cut it down. And Marky and I both are very high on Golden. Yeah, I was pretty sure that's what I heard, and I will trust you guys to know, and I'll definitely look a little bit more into him. But what do we got? We got a few more. Josh, Warren Gently Stewart. I like this. He's guys that can get an A as long as they're not passing on one of the three above would be Luther Burden or Loveland. I like that. Trevor's got Grant, McMillan, Barron, Genty, and James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. I think that might be a solo. That might be a one-off there, Trevor. Good for you. And so that is that. And then there were just a ton. And I won't go all through all these because that would be just a lot. But you can see just a ton of people had thoughts and takes on this, and it's great to see. A lot of Ted and Janty, Barron, anyone else is best available. I saw a lot about best available too, but answer the questions, guys. Darius says they need to extend Sutton. I think we all agree on that, or most of us do. Hey, there you go, Andy. There's another Golden fan just for you. Carl Dummler at MHH. He's on Building the Broncos with Nick Kendall. He likes McMillan. He likes Barron, Campbell. Walter Nolan. He says he's got questions, but he's talented. What do you guys know about Walter Nolan? And, of course, Loveland. He's not putting any running backs here, or I don't know who Walter Nolan is. That tells you again, I'm not an analyst. Love it. I love all the interactions. And I do recognize a lot of these people, so I want to thank them all for coming in. And all right, so I did a thing, and I'm going to show this to you in just a second. But before I do that, I do want to let you guys know that this isn't my normal thing. You know what my normal thing is. It's Mic'd Up Media Battles. And on Tuesday night, this Tuesday, it will be Zach Stevens of DNVR and Brandon Cristal of Guerrilla Sports. We'll be on the show. I hope you guys can tune in. That one's going to be lit, as I like to say. And come in and see it. Like and subscribe if you would. All right, so what does this all mean? Here's what it means to me. If you look at this little spreadsheet here, and I'm going to have to put my glasses on just so I can read my own spreadsheet. All right. So it looks like, based on the Twitter, and that's all everybody that jumped in just in my mentions and notifications, and I went through them and added them all up as of like a couple hours ago. So there's more than these, but you can see that the top 5 that Broncos country picked are Warren, Hampton, and these are in order: Genty, T-Mac, and Loveland. Followed by Golden, Grant. I mean, you can see them all right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. But so a couple of things I found interesting there was, and I think the reason we have Hampton second and Genty third is because I think some people took this as, there were enough people who thought, hey, it's not realistic. to get Genty, so I'm going to put Hampton. That would be my thought, because I think in most worlds we live in, Genty would be ahead of Hampton in that pick. What's up, D-Rock? Thanks for coming in, man. I like Tet here. I'd be happy with all. Honestly, I'd be happy probably down into this area with that. And then, so this is what Twitter had to say. And then I also just broke it out to what the guys on the podcasts and websites had to say. So they have Genty first, then Warren, Hampton, T-Mac, and then Grant. So Grant makes the top 5 there. So a little bit different. You've got, maybe they took it a little differently than the rest of Twitter did, but I found it interesting that there is just a little bit of change between the what Twitter had to say. All right, so Warren, not by a lot, but Warren, then Hampton, and then Genty. So then Tet, and then I guess the difference is, if I'm thinking about this right, is Loveland makes your list or Twitter's list, my list, your regular sane folks list, and then the crazy podcasters and website guys have the same, but then Grant. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was curious about that, and I talked to a few of the guys. These guys are pretty high on Grant. Not only just positional value, but the player. We'll see what his injury stuff is going on. But D-Rock, you're asking for my thoughts? I hope somebody else is watching this to give D-Rock thoughts on this player, which of course I've studied so much film on, because I do that when I'm not on. I study film, right? Like, you guys know better than that. That's awesome. So let's go back to so let's see how this came about. So what I'm talking about is, how are we as Twitter folks higher on, I don't know, players? Like Grant is higher from the podcast guys and stuff than it is with us. And then maybe that's the Bo Nix effect, right? Like, maybe we want weapons. Yeah, Average Joe kind of went above and beyond here. I like this. He's got his A's and his B's. And notice Grant doesn't make this list anywhere. So I'm curious, like, why is Grant, why is that line of demarcation there? Trade down and get Kenneth Grant. So Papa Z, good on you, I guess. That might be possible, right? Like, if he's got the injury stuff and he's going to slide, if we pick up, there's going to be running backs in the second, right? I mean, we're not going to disagree with that. Like, there could be room for some movement there. Dank, yeah, Burden and Grant. So there are some Grants here. Stone stupid. Wilson got nixed. All right. So Stone stupid. Well done. Henderson, Hampton, Burden, Golden, Warren. Anybody have a problem with that? I don't. I like that. All right. So Andy's got you, D-Rock. Would be a nice, I'm not even going to try and say that name. Ayamaner would be a nice pickup who'd fit in Peyton's offense well. Strong pass catcher who moves smoothly. I'd be a fan of that as a possibility at 51. So does that help? There you go, D-Rock. Richie Rich comes in and says, Grant is the guy I want. Yeah, I think that's, Richie Rich is host of Wild Wild West. So if you aren't familiar with him, you should be, on MHRT Network. And he's also a Grant guy. So I'm seeing that a lot in the pod sphere. Denver Dan at Dork Draft. If you don't know who that is, you should probably check him out too. He's got Hunter, Genty, Warren, McMillan, Loveland. Those are like if I were to do it, that's probably how I would write it. For my 5, like, I would give any of those an A, obviously. Travis Hunter making an appearance is awesome. Evan Warren Grant. Yeah, like it. Henderson has become vastly overdrafted for his talent. This is Royce. Someone. Thanks, Royce. I like that. Let's see. D-Rock says, thanks, Andy, for that. Everybody's just saying hi to each other. I love this community. It's awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching on a Saturday night while I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life besides drink. This is to you guys. Just a little Crowny Coke. Gage Madrid came in, and in no particular order, he's got Grant. See, these are Derek Harmon. So check out Gage Madrid NFL if you don't know who that is. He's got Amika in here too. So he does study all these prospects, as a lot of you guys do. But yeah, Gage really dives really deep into that. And I think it's Broncos Syndicate is the name on YouTube. He's got a lot of good stuff there. So okay. I'm not sure, but I think this guy wants Ted on his team. Just guessing. Okay. So back to this list. So now we see how we got here. I mean, are we comfortable? Would you guys be comfortable down in this area here? So these guys are getting votes, and this is a small sample size right here on this part. So let's go to the more Twittery. So Grant is on here twice, as you can see. And I corrected this on my newer spreadsheet. So let me get rid of this banner. And let's do some quick math before this gets out of hand. Let's get rid of this banner so I can see. So Grant would have had 2 more, which would have tied him with Golden. So yeah, it still didn't put him in the top 5, but Grant definitely did a little bit better, right? Would you guys be happy with I know Richie said that he would be like a Burden or a Barron. Is Henderson going to be available in the second? I'm starting to wonder if he would. Joey says Williams over Grant. He's the better player. Tyleek Williams, I'm assuming is how that's pronounced. That's interesting. And then, yeah, D-Rock says he's a big fan of Derek Harmon in the first round. I'm assuming you mean for the Broncos. Yeah, again, these are all fine. And then Richie comes in again. Is not completely opposed to a top tier running back in the first. Another great option would be trade out for the first, second round. Yeah. I think those plays are all good. I've seen a lot of people talking about how cornerback would be a mistake. I don't know that it'd be a mistake, but it would be kind of a letdown for me if that happened, just because of the excitement factor. But depends on how you feel about Chris Abrams' drain, right? Showed some potential. You never know. What do we got here? Yeah, Rich, dig into that. Andy, thank you for commenting again. Grant would be awesome here. Eats double teams and would let everyone around him. See, that's the thing. So, if he's that big body that can eat in the middle, like the Eagles did on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I'm all for it. I think we saw that in several games last year, as great as our pass rush was, they were able to take Nick Bonito and Cooper and those guys out of the game. They just game planned for him, and then we didn't have anything. Now, Hufanga at safety and Greenlaw at linebacker should help the middle of our defense quite a bit. So maybe that'll help, but I do think interior defensive line is a need, certainly a want for us. And but I don't know if it has to be in the first round. But yeah, I'd like to see that. So I'm not sure if you're saying, Rich, if he has shown or if he has to show, he can be that guy. So let me know, Rich, what you're talking about there with Grant, if he is or could be. Grant resolves all the issues we saw against Baltimore. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking myself into it even more now. I think on the show a couple weeks ago, I asked the guys after that Super Bowl, did what Philadelphia did to the Chiefs, like, change your thought process or change your mind about like the draft? Would you guys be more for interior defensive linemen, big tackle, nose tackle, or something like that? It certainly moved me off of the not completely off, but a little bit off of the weapons for Bo. I'm all about wide receiver, running back, tight end. I want weapons for Bo. I want to get this offense going. But honestly, from a team building standpoint, I am definitely not opposed to big bodied guys up front causing trouble. Carl Dummler, my man. I would have voted for Warren and Genty on my list, but I operated with the idea that both would be gone. Yeah, I know that. And I kind of saw that in your tweet, Carl. So I think a lot of people kind of danced around that, but I think with the results we've got, it's still pretty clean. And I do know that almost all of us, for some reason, if Genty was there at 20, we would take him. Yeah, of course. So no, I get that totally. Rich, he has shown he can be double teamed. So we're talking about Grant, which is awesome, right? So I think Nick Kendall was the first to start to sway me on DL, interior defensive line. And since then, the Super Bowl has happened. And then tonight with this whole, a lot of people putting Grant right up in that top 5. That could be the play, but if they don't draft a big body or in the draft at all, it'll be surprising to me if they don't. Carl Dummler, how you doing? Rich wants to know how you're doing, Carl. I bet Carl's doing great because I think he was on earlier tonight on a show, maybe. I'm not sure. Guys, so this is back to the pod guys, right? So even though, Carl, you would have counted Genty and Warren, they were in 1 and 2, so you didn't skew anything really there. I think we're fine. So what's realistic, right? Realistic is Hampton. Is Tet realistic? Could Tet be there? Could Grant be there? I mean, you guys tell me, right? What are the realistic draft options at 20? Well, we know the 5 that we want, and replace Grant, I believe, with Loveland on the other poll. But all these guys are pretty solid. I think there's going to be good options for us there. It's going to be interesting. I'd like to see 2 running backs taken, but that's just me still hanging on to some weapon stuff. These guys are just chatting in the chat. Yeah, cornerback definitely. That's another one of those that could never be enough. I'm a little scared of a first round there just for value for the team because of the need. But I mean, if there's somebody that's it's going to pay off, like he's one of the. It's like pass rushers and interior defensive linemen, as Nick Kendall would say. You just draft them every year. You draft someone you could plug and play in there. Carl Dummler comes back, and I never believed Tech could be there until I saw major news guys like Mel Kiper had him mocked to us. So, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, and it's true. So Kiper gets a lot of stuff from what he hears from teams, but teams are smart to that too now, so they're starting to play that game a little bit and they'll use Mel for some misdirection, but yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Andy, there's a chance Tech could be available at 20. That's good. Oh, good. So yeah, Kiper and DJ. So that's good to hear. I hope it'd be fun if he's there. So if Hampton's there and Tet is there at the same time, who are you taking? I don't know. I asked about Hampton and Loveland last week, and what I got was like it was Hampton by just a skosh, beat out Loveland. So it's like 52%, 48% or something like that. So yeah, interesting. This is a fun draft because we're not looking for quarterbacks. We're not dealing with any of that crap. So we can just sit back and it's nice to have all these options that would still be good. Like our whole, like the last few drafts, a lot of drafts felt like our whole life future was riding on who we took in that first draft. Even when we picked was it last year we picked like 64th in the draft was like our first pick. And, like everything was riding on who we got in that pick. It's just crazy how things have changed. Now it's like we could have a lot of these guys and totally be happy with it, guys. So we'll get a few more comments if you guys are. I've kind of said what I wanted to say, but I want to definitely get to as many comments as I can. If there's anything else we need to discuss. Mel is seemingly used a lot by teams to put out noise. Yeah, I agree. I kind of commented on that. I think Mel's been in this long enough to know when he's being used, but I think he has to play that game to keep the access he's got. Call comes back in. Tet would be my choice over Hampton. I'm starting to sway that way too, especially with the Juckins talk, and then there's Henderson, which I think I saw a video of him just in pass pro. Like either one of those two look like they'd be clear upgrades to what we've got. But anyways, back to Hampton and Tet. Carl says he's the perfect receiver for what Peyton loves to do. And we still see wide receiver more valuable position after watching Chase get crazy money. Chase and what's his partner's name? They both got money. Some like $146 million is tied up in just those positions. So that's funny. And he says he's got Hampton higher than Ted on his board. 14 McMillan in the mid-20s. He's lower than most. With that being said, McMillan would fit. Why are you lower on McMillan? Yeah, Higgins. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, T. Higgins. So it's a crazy amount of money to have wrapped up. I saw a lot of, I'm sure you guys saw it too, but after they signed Chase and Higgins to those deals, there was a lot of, Twitter fodder about how the Bengals are going to put up 50 points and still lose by 20 points every week because they don't have anybody on defense. And Andy, I'm curious to know what's up with you and Tet. What do you got against Tet? He steal your lunch money or something? What's going on with that? A lot of people seem really high on him. And yeah, I mean, certainly Twitter does. And then Loveland's still in there. Be curious to see. Gosh, I can't wait for the draft, guys. Man, it's going to be so fun. All right. So I've yapped on long enough. Andy, all you guys coming in here, D-Rock, Rich. I got to make sure I thank you guys so much for coming in. Joey, Andy, of course, Carl. Thank you so much for coming in. This isn't my bag. I just like to come on and do this stuff and talk with you guys when the time is free. And I know I'm not good at it, but I love doing my mic'd up. I love having you guys on and talking ball with you. And so this is just my way of passing the time with my friends here. So the Bengals won't be able to keep O-line now either. I know, that's what I'm saying. Those guys, we complain about not getting this player or not getting that player, but I think George Payton and Sean Payton are doing with all the cap hit they had to ride out and everything they did, like $24 million. They spent $24 million to do DJ, Greenlaw, Hufanga, who am I forgetting? Sherfield and Evans or Evan Ingram. They did all that with $24 million in cap space. That's pretty nice. And yes, thank you. Click the like button and please subscribe if you haven't. We're a couple months into this, and Well, I just saw we were at like 525 subs. So thank you so much. It helps us out so much. Apparently there's a matrix or something. And the more of you guys that subscribe, but I think all you guys are subscribed here that I'm seeing right here. So thank you, Rich. Good content, Mike. I'll be back for sure. D-Rock, let's go. I should have my buttons out so I can ring my bells and stuff, but I didn't. And Joey, I don't know you, but thank you so much for coming in. And the rest of you, thanks for coming in. I really enjoyed it. And go enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm going to. I have my little whiskey here. And if honey, if you're watching down there in Phoenix, I hope you're having a good time eating. Was it surf and turf you had tonight? Yeah, that's nice. I had leftover lasagna for the 5th time in a row. So thank you for making that before you go. And I know it's the algorithm. I just like to say the Matrix because I'm a fan of geeky Matrix type stuff. Until next time, though, thanks again for watching. I'll see you Tuesday night on Mic'd Up. I can't wait. Go Broncos, guys.